Hello everybody! Today we'll be sculpting the small, chonky, hoppity pal Pengullet. I'd also like to give a quick thank you to those who took a moment to tell me what you would like to see be made. From here on out, after every video release, I'm going to be posting a poll in my community tab so that everybody has a chance to vote on which pal will be sculpted next. Okay, so let's get down to business. Starting off with one small and one larger tightly packed aluminum foil ball, you're going to want to cover them with polymer clay. Make sure that when you're adding clay to the aluminum that you're pressing down hard enough so that there won't be any air bubbles left in between the pieces. Go ahead and smooth them on out, and now you can connect the two balls together. Your mind didn't go there because of me, okay? Don't blame that on me. To better secure the neck area, add some more clay and smooth it on in. Still not being happy with the overall shape yet, I'm going to add some extra onto the head and then onto the body. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to need an army to model for me. So let's make that happen. Just a few more and there we go. Oh, hey guys, I'm happy to see you too. Whoa, G-Speed Racer like a bat out of heck. Oh, okay, see you later. Hey guys, would you maybe wanna get something to eat or no? Okay, while they're figuring that out, let's move on to the next step. Using cosplay for the more fragile areas, I'm gonna be starting off with the little tiny legs. Then on to shaping those big old flipper feet. And even though they still look like a potato, I'm gonna attach them on first. And as always, smoothing in all of the seams just to assure that nothing falls off while I'm working on it and nothing breaks off after being baked. Especially after when it's baked and something breaks off, it's such an awful feeling, but there's usually a way that you can fix it. Typically for me, that means getting out the liquid Sculpey and adding additional clay. So now I'm on to detailing the toes. First, I use my pointed metal tool to make the lines, and then I moved on to my rubber tip tool to make them appear more pointed. Moving right along to the wings, I use my fingers to shape them and also press them gently against the table surface to try and smooth them out a bit. Now press and attach those chicken wangs on. With the next steps coming up, since my models won't exactly work with me, I'm thinking of another way that I'll be able to study them. Okay, so nothing creepy happening here at all. So we have the little red teardrop, the beak, the hair tuft, and the— oh my god, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that. This is not how I'm going out. Awkward. Okay, so after almost being trampled on by a flock of Pengullet, we are now attaching the little raindrop shape onto the chest. And next, shaping the beak. Even though I got up close and personal, I still struggled to position it correctly the first time. There, no, there, maybe, yes, yep, finally. The indecisive person has finally made a decision, hooray! Okay, getting that attached and then moving right on to the tail. It's a fairly simple shape attaching right onto the bum. Also didn't realize until now that I unintentionally gave this guy a temporary dingleberry. Gross. But it was necessary. Before, I think I called this a hair tuft, but I meant to say feather tuft. Whichever you'd like to call it, I use my pointed metal tool to make the split and use my fingers to point the tips. Plop it right on top and ever so carefully connect the pieces together. Finally, we're on to the baking stage. Whichever clay you use, it's very important to always follow the baking instructions. I always use a baking tray, a tile, and some parchment paper to keep my project from becoming glossy after baking. Now in a preheated oven, I use some toothpicks to keep a gap, and I always use an oven thermometer to make sure that the temperature stays consistent. Starting off with some rough grit sandpaper and a mask, I'm going to be using this to get rid of some lumps and bumps. I recently read about some kind of underwater method for sanding polymer clay, so I may give that a try next time and see how that works out. Still using a mask with the finer grit sandpaper, and now I'm aiming for a softer finish. Cue that magic cleanup. And bringing out the white base coat paint. Now that it's all prepped and ready to go, it's time to sketch. Don't worry! So I wanted to take a moment to tell you guys that I've been thinking about trying something new. As I've been wanting to build this channel as a creative community, I've been thinking about adding your work at the end of my videos. I'd like to add about 5 to 10 photos each, so if you'd like to be featured, you could tag the Crafty Bumblebee at IG or TikTok. Or use the hashtag CraftyBreehive. Some weeks I may even do a themed challenge as well, so be on the lookout for that. Now to mix some body paint and oh my god, it's real! I actually have a paint palette and not a watercolor one. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, enough of that. Now that my acrylics have their proper mixing palette, let's get to making colors. And finally, it begins. Now, not to interrupt this very lovely musical painting time-lapse, but this little penguin actually reminds me of someone, and it makes me sad, because you're all a bunch of monsters. You know who you are. No need for me to be mixing any paint for this one, as I'm going to be using this parchment color for the belly and the face mask. And now for the underside, I'm gonna have to be creative and find a way to get a peek at what it looks like. Alright, bud, come here for 1 second. Holy, oh my god, I am so sorry, that looked awful. Come here, let me pet you real quick, okay? It's all better, it's okay, it's okay. And I'm stuck. Never mind? Okay, I guess that was my karma for just horribly throwing a pal like a basketball. And makes me feel even worse because I apparently had the paint job done correctly before I even did that. But I wanted to check anyways because I was just taking a guess, so I had to make sure. I'm just saying that to myself to make myself feel better about what just happened. Shh. Now on to the beak and feet, and ooh, yay, a paint booger peel. Perfect. For the beak and the feet, I'm going to be adding a few coats of yellow first, and then while it's still wet, adding a few dabs of orange and then blending it in. Taking a closer look at this little guy, I'm realizing now that this boy just ain't chunky enough. He's just not thick with 2 C's. So I'm gonna just start adding more raw clay to shape him out a bit more and then bake again. I didn't film this part, but I did shave down his beak a bit using this little razor tool that I have. Aw, bud, come on, don't look at me like that. It'll be fine. Now I just have to do a bit of a quick cleanup. See? I told you everything would be okay. You look good. Now to add some red to the teardrop shape on his chest. And just to give it a little bit of a shine look, I'm going to be adding some white to the red while it's still wet and blending it in. Now getting close to finishing, I'm going to be using this blue color for the ends of the wings and the feather tuft. The blue by itself ended up being a bit too dark, so I'm going to be mixing in some dabs of white. In the home stretch now, and I'll be using the blue, black, and white for the eye colors. For the eyes, I decided to just paint the whole thing black first and then blend the blue in on top of it. It was kind of a pain to do, but when is blending not ever a fairly long process? It came out nicely in the end though, so I was happy with it. And finally, just adding those adorable white shiny spots. And here's the finished sculpt. If you made it this far in the video, in honor of Pengullet, leave an emoji of a penguin in the comment section down below. Also in the community tab, don't forget to cast your vote in the poll for who I should make next. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to hang out with me. I appreciate ya. Till next time, bye!